Looks like kava juice or something.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. Although it is quite far off, it is not too far off.
Oh god, that's perfect. We triggered live right as you just showed that to the camera. So perfect.
Oh man, that's great. Oh, speaking of,
Hear yourself in the background, huh?
no, actually, I just had to do
Oh, but wait for it.
this.
There it is. Dun-dun. Transcribe.
This call is not a transfer.
So I replaced my ancient Roomba. Actually, it wasn't even an ancient Roomba. I had it for a year, but customer service was a dickbag about when I actually got it because I didn't register the product immediately. So without an exact receipt, we can't do anything for you. I'm like, the device's birthday is 4 months ago. I brought it home and I plugged it in. No, we can't help you. So I went and got a new product. Me being the petty bitch I am, I sent them the copy of the receipt showing them that I spent more on a competitor's product. But this one talks. It'll bing, error. Please return to the dock bay. And it'll repeat that over and over 3 times. Was not ready for that in the morning when I just randomly hear, starting morning cleaning sequence. And I'm getting up out of bed who the hell is in the house?
Have you ever seen Love, Death, and Robots?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Oat Studios?
Oat Studios.
It's also on Netflix.
No.
If you liked Love, Death, and Robots, you will absolutely like Oat Studios. It's basically the same thing. I have no idea how they differentiate them all that much, but basically the same thing. It's a bunch of mini stories. It's the second act out of a killer movie. It's 20 minutes long generally. These things are 15, 20 minutes long. And they start with the first act already having taken place. Damn. And then they end right as they're entering the third act.
Jesus. That'd be fun.
Yeah, so you start with anxiety and you end with questions.
Oh, God. That's just
great.
Life.
That's why I watched Love, Death, and Robots. Isn't that why you watched Love, Death, and Robots? Maybe one episode that made you feel good after it.
The one with the robots just exploring the death of humanity and fearing the cat.
Okay, it was the cat that did it, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I just like their description. It's a hyper-efficient killing machine.
It is, though. That's the thing, man. Cats are murderers.
Yeah, they are.
Actual murderers. You have a murderer in your home.
Oh, yeah. They have, the highest kill percentage of most species.
Yeah, they just, wipe out entire species of birds, and they're invasive everywhere.
Yep. Cats are smart. They figured out how to hook on to us, and they never let go.
One of the many driving forces behind life is cats.
Yeah.
That's why Futurama did a bit on it.
That's true. They were the secret.
Yeah, that was a great episode too. Yeah, that was I think the first or second round of Futurama before they canceled it.
Yeah.
For the first or second time. Should we get into OSHA violations eventually?
Yeah, why not? Shall we dive into our noir intro here?
Si, senor.
All right. Am I still doing my whippy head thing?
You can do whatever animated intro you want. I've experimented with literally just starting the camera, or starting the frame right here, and I just down. You know what I mean? Doesn't have to be anything.
No, my chair doesn't go back far enough to do the Mushu thing.
Oh, it would.
Yeah, well,
it's the other way you have to worry about.
You'd hear a thud. I'll just stick to the current one. I'll futz around with some of the new ideas later. Hi. You smell the dust before you even clock in. The warehouse is loud, cramped, and hotter than it should be. But nobody says anything. The forklift's backup alarm hasn't worked in weeks. A pallet fell last Tuesday and barely missed a guy's head. Your supervisor shrugged it off. Just be more careful. No one's come to inspect the place in years, and if they did, it'd take 5 minutes to spot a dozen OSHA violations. Meanwhile, Corporate brags about productivity gains and cost-cutting wins in the monthly newsletter. They don't mention that your coworker slipped in an uncleaned oil spill that was never cleaned up. They don't care that the safety gear is outdated or that you're pulling 10-hour shifts without proper ventilation. To them, it's cheaper to risk your life than to fix the problem. They call you essential when it suits them, but when safety costs money, you're expendable. So as you strap on that broken harness and walk past another out-of-order sign, just remember, your life has value, even if your employer acts like it doesn't.
Dude, that hit home. I was imagining all of those scenarios. It's like, I've seen all of that. The backup alarm on the forklift being out for weeks was a little extreme in my experience.
Yeah.
But all of the other things, Jesus Christ. Did you know there's roughly one OSHA inspector for every 70,000 workers?
Oh, fuck. I mean,
which means
they were
most workplaces.
I knew they were staffed, but there's no way they can keep up with the amount of businesses.
Oh, dude, it's a sickening disparity. We'll get into it.
Oh God.
Which means most workplaces you walk into haven't seen a safety inspection in years, or perhaps they haven't been inspected at all. In this episode, we're breaking down how companies cut corners, why most violations go unreported, and what happens when someone finally gets hurt. I'm Charlie. He's Colin. This is the Unemployable Life podcast. Welcome back. That was a weird intro.
I like
awkward.
I like it.
I hope you all enjoy it. No, I felt awkward doing it. This is where I'm going to fade out and go.
Just Homer Simpson into a shrub behind you.
Yeah, what's funny actually is the wallpaper that's going on here is colorful leaves. So it's kind of my shrub.
If I can figure out how to do the Homer Simpson intro, that's what I'll do from now on. Just materializing from a background.
Yeah, I might just have to get one of those like a bead curtain and just put some bush on the front.
Ah, it doesn't work.
Walk through the bush.
Right.
I was knee deep in muff. So if we
that didn't take long.
If we start with a brief history of OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, we see that OSHA evolved from the Bureau of Labor Standards, which was established in 1934 within the U.S. Department of Labor. It was formally created by the Occupational Safety and Health Act, signed into law by President Nixon, heard of him, on December 29th, 1970, and went into effect on April 28th, 1971. This launched OSHA as a federal agency. This was the culmination of decades of worker fatality and dismemberment, long hours, brutal conditions, and that led unions to lobby the government to regulate unsafe workplaces. Work for the human labor. Anybody behind me, my son.
That's the one I know too.
I was gonna say Boy Meets World up and down.
Yep.
You're 35, that hit a bone for you.
Yep.
So right away, I'm noticing something that I really want to complain about, and that's fucking lobbying, dude. They were lobbying for centuries, honestly, politics. But it took unions paying senators for anything to be done. They don't care about you or the work you do. They only care about the dollars they can get out of you.
Yeah. And that's a common theme that we run into. I have a very dear friend, and he's on the conservative side, and kind of drank the Kool-Aid when it came to claims that our current administration was going to be great for jobs. Great for business, actually. And technically that is correct, but he was shocked when he realized that, he's not going to benefit from it. He's not one of the business owners. There's kind of a different world for these people, and there's a reason we have OSHA. There's a reason we have laws that protect unions, because if we take them away, they'll go right back to being like, oh, it's a shame little Timmy lost 3 fingers in the factory machine today. That's better than yesterday. He lost 4 then. He can only lose so many more.
He's only got 2 left.
Statistically speaking, the injuries are getting worse, and we're doing a good job.
we're going to get into something a little later that is going to really just bring all of that back into modern day.
Oh god, yeah, that tracks.
So the legal basis, the legal basis of OSHA comes from the Occupational Safety and Health Act grants OSHA the authority to set and enforce workplace health and safety standards, oversee employer compliance, and issue regulations under Section 5A1, the General Duty Clause. If you ever take an OSHA class, they don't teach you any of
that. No. No,
So,
actually, no schooling ever taught me that. The only thing I was taught about OSHA when doing hospitality management training in a trade school, mind you, was you want to do the OSHA stuff so that OSHA never inspects you, because if they catch on to something, it's just going to be annoying. It was very much so framed
they come
as
back.
like, yeah, they're the bad guys. Like, they're going to come in and make your lives miserable.
And here's the thing. They come back even though there's only one for every 70,000 workers, one agent for every 70,000 workers. So yeah. They come back because they know you fucked up. Yep. They know that they have something on you, and they know that there is a likelihood they can get something out of you, money, yep, or improve the workplace for one of the 70,000 workers they're there to protect. I was going to say save. That's heavy, but they're there to aid, you know, and when you introduce unsafe work practices, you're kind of asking for it. Like you said, the best thing you could do is just be on top of your game. Yeah. Just be good at being good.
Yep.
Understand your OSHA regulations in your specific industry, whatever they are.
I'm always going to come back to this. I still have this theory that so much of what we're seeing right now is because leadership is not creative enough to drive new revenue. So they're just trying to figure out ways to cut corners and simulate creating revenue. And this is one of those things. If they're cutting safety corners in order to increase the amount of products you produce per minute, that's not doing it right. That's not doing it well. That's cheating the system. And if somebody gets hurt, I mean, we've already been over this. Like, businesses aren't exactly held to the same standard that individual humans are for hurting each other.
No, but it does cost them a hell of a lot of money.
Yep. That's their threat.
It'll be tens of thousands of dollars if someone is hurt on your property or at your facility.
Yeah.
And you are found liable. It is found to be from neglect, ignorance. If you don't know the law, you're still expected to abide. Or Jesus Christ, if you don't know the law, you're still expected to obey it.
Yeah.
It's weird, but also a lot of OSHA things are kind of common sense, like kickboards on staircases, hand railings, and proper training on how to walk upstairs and how to mop appropriately, especially in a food factory setting. Like, proper cleanup of glass. Like, you have to have you have to have broom training. There's an entire glass cleaning kit. Jesus, this fucking stuff is
kicks, huh? I'm jealous.
I'm just like tripping on my words right now. But they train you right down in a good place anyway. They train you right down to the punctuation, because if they don't, OSHA's going to fine them $750 for a pallet standing on end. $750 per pallet standing on end.
Oh yeah, one of the most common ones we run into in hospitality land would be managers who didn't understand the compliances, like why certain rooms couldn't be overstocked. It's a fire hazard, and it's also like a collapsing hazard. But it would be a routine thing where, like, I hate to admit it, but I've been in businesses where, the front, we call them the bellhops or the bellmen, whichever, they would basically ping me and be like, hey, this guy looks like an OSHA representative. Because we had been busted multiple times for having overstocked rooms.
So they're coming and going right to that closet.
Absolutely. And I would always have that closet spick and span, but there was a hidden one that held all the shit because we didn't have enough room. But instead of actually dealing with it as a business, the owners wouldn't approve the budget spend. So we just kept shuffling it and playing avoid the inspector games. It was...
Do you think it was because the owners were incompetent, or were they like overwhelmed, or were they just greedy and trying to avoid all wrongdoing?
They weren't even really involved. They were like 30,000 foot managers. Like, they owned the property. They had one guy who ran several of the hotels. And then I was one of his minions that was on the hotel floor. So basically he could have a 5-day week and fuck everyone else in their weekends was how it worked out. It was mainly him just wanting if he saved enough money, if he came in under target on his budgets, he would get a bonus in that amount. So it was directly beneficial for him to cut those corners.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Motherfuckers die for profits.
Yes.
All the time. There was Thomas Cooper. We covered. I didn't even upload the episode because I was in a whole fucking tiff. But Thomas Cooper, little boy that died in Michigan because the hyperbaric chamber exploded.
Yep.
Because the CEO of the company didn't do any of the required checks or audits or anything like that of her facility for something like 7 or 10 years. And she just went, don't need to do that. And then a 5-year-old boy explodes in a ball of flames because of her negligence, because she wanted to save a little bit of money in the short term. And this is kind of where they get you. You save some money in the short term, but you will get caught.
Well, so,
you will get caught.
Yeah.
And there are only 1,719 compliance officers nationwide, so you actually probably won't get caught.
Well, that's the crazy thing. Like, the businesses I worked for that were terrified of OSHA were the ones who had messed up before, or were owned by several other owners who had other businesses that had messed up. So they're like, we're not going to mess with it. But then, like, I had a German hotel manager for a while who she was terrifying. Like, frickin', we had jokes about her that were not appropriate. Because she was frigid ice bitch. Anyway, she put me in charge of rooms, which means I was overseeing housekeeping. And they're like, oh, did you know we have the housekeeping facility down the way? And I'm like, oh, I'd love to go see it. First thing I find is that, like, all the ventilation is clogged. There hadn't been maintenance down there. We had maintenance people. We could just send them over there. Like, it was a thing we could do. But this gal literally was like, I don't give a shit about this property. It's off there. The inspectors don't worry about it. And then I had to deal with my housekeeping team in very broken English being like, it's so hot. What do we do? Like, can you help? And it's like, oh my God. Like, yeah, we're going to have an air conditioner. I'm going back to the new GM and we're reporting this. Like, we will have this handled. It's not that hard to do things the right way. It takes extra time. But
it does take extra time, which means extra money too, because you have to pay contractors or employees to set up whatever protocols that are required. And you have to pay for the resources and the supplies to make that protocol happen.
Yeah, I mean, I had to take
but
the maintenance
at the end of the day,
guys and bring them in.
At the end of the day, you're giving your employees a better and safer place to work at, a healthier, safer place to work at. And your employees deserve a healthy and safe place to work. Period. Yeah. There is no but. No. Shut the fuck up. I don't care about your dollar. All right. It's about your employees. It is always about your employees, because without your employees, you have and you are nothing. You don't even have customers without your employees.
I think it comes down to that concept too of, like, your employees aren't liabilities, they're assets. And, like, I would definitely say, after taking care of this little dinky house that had been stripped out of all the walls and was basically a sweatshop, after getting a nice lunch table, putting an AC in, well, it turned out the AC was there, but it broke, and the previous GM was like, why would I pay to fix it? It's not, no one's having a problem with it. And, like, they had so much water there to prevent heat stroke, it was insane. But once we got all that fixed, dude, the laundry turnaround times were insanely better. Like, I had that down to an art of, it took 20 minutes to get the van there. We would load it up, take 10 minutes to check on everyone, drink some Cokes, hop back in the van, go back up. By the time we were back and unloaded everything, we were down to pick up the next load. That was never a thing. It was like 1 to 2 loads a day before. And we could just, like, turn the whole hotel around in a day. And it's like, we had 6 housekeepers down there that were fucking sweating and taking breaks. One of the machines was broken and had a vent that just piped the hot air into the room in a hot Californian, like, scrub desert. So, like, once we fixed it, suddenly everyone was happy to help.
Have you ever reported OSHA violations?
No, that's one thing I haven't reported. I have reported wage law breach several times. It's very common.
The way to report a violation, if you were so inclined, anyone can do it. A former worker or their representative, including third parties, including family, union reps, attorneys, and even concerned citizens, can submit OSHA reports.
This
So
is something that needs to be
if
more
I
known.
were to, that's why I bring it up, man.
Yeah.
But if I were to drive past a construction site and I see a guy without a tie off on a roof, I can call OSHA. Be like, hey, ABC Construction isn't that's a real company. Hey, this construction company, uh, they're operating unsafely at this address at about this time.
Hmm.
Be specific. You don't have to
Yeah.
give them your details. You don't have to tell them who you are, although giving them your name and affiliation with the company may strengthen your case, because just
Yeah.
because you report a violation doesn't mean it'll be taken into consideration. As we've
Yeah.
said a couple of times already, there's only one agent for every 70,000 employees. They cannot get to everything.
Actually, yeah, the closest I think it was an OSHA violation, but I reported to the Food Safety Council a Burger King that was serving expired food. I always thought that OSHA was like the boogeyman. That's how it was perceived by us. Like, I thought like an OSHA raid was gonna be like, some guy coming down from a helicopter, like,
yeah.
Your laundry room is not in compliancy. Here is your liability ticket, and you will fix it in this
And really,
time.
it's just like Kathy who couldn't make it in HR school.
Yeah. Well, and it's hey, someone reported this. Like, I'm not just here trying to find shit, because that's how it was taught to me. Like, they're hunting for the problem, and they'll make problems out of things. Like,
That was it.
If I knew this, I could have called in reports from my friends, and they would have never
OSHA
been in the targets.
Right. OSHA is there for the employee. It is not there for the employer per se.
Yeah.
In fact, retaliation by your employer toward you or anyone who reports an OSHA violation is illegal. Refer to our wrongful termination video about that. But if your employer disciplines you, treats you unfairly, or just outright fires you after it comes out that you have reported a violation to any agency, it's not just OSHA. This is a whistleblower protection here.
Yeah.
Every OSHA complaint is protected by whistleblower protections. Basically, I'm not a lawyer. We're not lawyers.
Yeah.
But that is basically
this is our understanding of the law.
This is
We are
our
not
understanding.
lawyers,
Disclaimer. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Well, we are two idiots. Whee!
Boy, I couldn't even figure out how to grow the rest of my hair, dude. That's how dumb I am.
I got 2 plugs in the back of my neck. It just stopped. Like, I stopped loading.
This is true, actually. He doesn't actually even have nipples. They just didn't download.
God, actually,
And he has an Audi also.
I only have one nipple because someone just took it off in fighter practice the other week. God, it was just only that, and it hurt so bad.
Dude, when I was in high school, I think I was a sophomore. One of the seniors, tall kid, grabbed one of the freshmen, short kid, by the nipples and just picked him up and dropped him.
Oh my God, I think I would die.
Oh, this kid did, dude. Like, he was bleeding a little bit. It was rough.
Ow.
It was rough. It was rough. It was rough. You could probably report that.
I see this stuff going down. Yeah. No, I never knew that reporting was such an easy thing. Like, I always thought it would have to be like, you would have to disclose who you are and that it would be announced and all this stuff. Because my employers always made it like, if we ever, we have ways of finding it out. They have to tell us who did it, was what I was told.
They will your employer will absolutely use coercive language to try to get you to comply. I mean, it's really everything. Every professional situation comes down to a power move. Like, who's trying to exude power here?
Yeah.
And they're trying to exude power here by controlling the information. If they're controlling the information that you're hearing by telling you, if you do this, we will find out. If your ex-girlfriend told you that, you're going to be reminded of why she's your ex.
Yeah.
Make them your ex-employer.
Well, and I'm realizing this is kind of the fake news thing that comes around, is it's kind of insidious, right? Because I was pretty dang studious, but I fell hook, line, and sinker for this stuff because I was in that culture that was teaching these things. Even line employees were like, we don't want OSHA involved. We don't want our lives getting any harder. Am I right? But that's because we all believed it. We believed the lie. We didn't vet the information. And then it's
no, that's exactly it too. They really do kind of condition you to like be against the good guy. And they do so. I think I don't know that there is an honest way that you can go about doing that as a business owner. I don't think there's an honest way that you can go about saying, hey, these guys are coming in and just making sure that like we don't have any extension cords running over some water puddles or anything like that. Well, they are actually going to come here and eat your children. That's what they're going to do. And then when they're done with that, they're going to put your mom in a blender and feed it to your dog. Like they make them out to be such hooligans.
Yeah.
Hooligans.
Yeah. Yeah. Mainly because they're fucked up and they want to cover their asses. Oh my god. Becoming upper management is literally just learning how to cover bigger and bigger mistakes.
Whoa. Really, it's just like damage control, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
You just kind of win
it wasn't, I was never interviewed about like, okay, do you know standard payroll stuff? That's nice. Like, it was never super detailed on like the real important stuff to run a good team. But man, people would be like, what's the worst thing you've run into? Have you ever had to deal with this organization? How did you handle that? And it was literally like, can you hold the line and bullshit for us? And I'm realizing that, and I'm hating it.
But at least you're realizing it now, and whoever watches this, maybe you're realizing it too in this moment.
Fuck.
In order to file an OSHA complaint, the fastest way is just to go straight to osha.gov. We'll leave links and appropriate information down below, and maybe even a little OSHA violation cheat sheet help you out on the floor there.
Should make a commercial for them. Just a bunch of people. Just, oh shit, and it cuts out over and over and over again. Just OSHA. It's in the name.
I have heard and said many a joke. Very similar. I am, by the way, OSHA trained. I've had dozens of hours of OSHA training. I carry a OSHA 30 industrial card and an OSHA 10 construction. And aside from that, I've had like other smaller state affiliated safety things, but this is OSHA related. Yeah. So I'm not a complete idiot. I've been around this world for quite a long time.
I'm a little
second way,
but I remember it.
I'm a little out of D too, I'll admit. But OSHA, like once you know one of the regulations, they don't go away. They don't deregulate.
Yeah. The MSDS never really changed.
Nah, WD-40 still be WD-40, man.
It does.
You know what's actually funny?
It's so bad.
2 days ago, I found a bottle of cleaner. I think it was cleaner. It was dark green. I've never seen it before in my life at work. I work in a food factory, right? And it just said all-purpose on it. And then, dude, these bottles kept showing up in all the rooms. Sometimes multiple. Like I have 3 of these things in my department. I have no idea what they are. I have no idea if it's food contact safe. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Not one. So then I go and I was like, what the hell is all-purpose? And I go and I try to find the actual bottle, the container that it came from. It was nowhere to be found. I looked in the MSDS. Well, the SDS is what they call it now, but I looked in the SDS and I was like, it's not in here. Like,
what the fuck?
This is a massively illegal liquid that's just on the floor of a fucking contract packaging plant. And now that I say that out loud, I might have to take my own advice.
Yeah.
Because that shit ain't cool. So it won't be anonymous. It's already here. they know. They'll know. They'll fucking know it's me. They will know so quickly that it's me. It's fine. So the second way you can do it is obviously by phone. You can call your local OSHA office, find your regional office, or you can call the main office or OSHA hotline at 1-800-321-6742. That's 1-800-321-OSHA.
They need to catch a jingle. Because, like, if we wanted OSHA to be represented the way it should be, it would be that, just like that freaking 1-800-588-2300 Empire today.
We could write a jingle right now, dude. Right now. We could jingle the shit out of this.
That'd be fun.
So,
oh, God, that sounds so wrong.
Jingle me timbers. You can also download OSHA's principal complaint form, the OSHA-7, or so you can mail or fax it to your nearest OSHA. Just fucking walk it there, man. It'll get it there faster.
Yeah.
Which is actually the last thing you can do. You can literally go and report in person.
That would make that whole process seem way more human. Like,
yeah, it would, but it would also potentially take away a little bit of anonymity, because then you would be like kind of pressured as a person to kind of divulge who you are a little bit to the other person across the counter, right? Because it's a face-to-face interaction. But if it's a phone, a fax, or an online complaint, I would absolutely. Yeah.
You imagine you go in to report it. I'm the fucking OSHA guy. I'm like, all right, Charles, I've heard everything. I understand you want to remain anonymous. Got your back. Walk into the fucking factory floor the next week and be like, all right, everybody, I'm here because I was given a tip that such and such and such and such and such and such are incorrect, and there's apparently a green glowing liquid somewhere on this property that is not in your SDS sheet. Oh, hey, Charles. Anyway.
Brother-in-law. He's my brother-in-law.
Good to see you again, man.
I am so happy that you brought up the green glowing ooze liquid, you said, but I thought of ooze. Because we'll get to that. After you file, OSHA screens the complaint. Serious complaints may trigger an on-site inspection. We've actually just laid out a few examples of that. Less severe complaints may be handled by phone or fax investigations. Complainant usually receives updates, but OSHA isn't required to share full details. So you get some like, investigation's ongoing, but you're not going to get like, yeah, your boss, we arrested him or whatever, which, by the way, OSHA has the power not to arrest you directly, but they give, if you fail to pay your citation, they give your entire case to the Department of Justice.
Boom. Oh, I didn't know that. That's so
and
excellent.
They come after you. So you either pay OSHA or the federal government Department of Justice arm is coming for you.
Damn. Yeah, this is all stuff. This needs to be taught in school.
This is shit that like you just don't even think about it. Even when there are career manufacturers out there who've been working in the industry for 30 years, have no idea.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
The owner of the place that I currently work has no idea.
Yeah. I was a manager for 10. And I towed the company line and wasn't even aware of it. Ew.
Wasn't even aware of it. So now I can finally talk about the ooze. Because there are people out there who are trying to abolish OSHA. So they're trying to bring it back to that state of dismemberment that you were describing earlier. And I said we're going to bring that back into the modern day. Yeah. January 10th, 2025, Republican Andy Biggs of Arizona introduced Bill H.R. 86, the Nullify Occupational Safety and Health Administration Act, or NOSHA for short.
No shit. God damn it.
You know what's funny, dude? Like, I talk a lot of shit about the government, but they are fucking great at naming things. Like, their acronym, fucking just top tier. I cannot take that away from them.
This has been since the Civil War. Like, the side that had the catchier tunes was the South. The side that had the more horrible crimes against humanity was also the South. But
that's because black people had more rhythm.
Had to rub off on the white people eventually.
and then we had Elvis, who just like stole from them blatantly. So the NOSHA bill contained very little. Would you like me to read you the entire bill?
Oh yeah, because normally these things have like hidden shit inside of them.
The entire bill, presented by Republican Andy Biggs of Arizona. Here we
go. Okay.
Nullify Occupational Safety and Health Administration Act. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration Act of 1970 is repealed. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration is abolished. That's it. That's the entire bill. And again, we'll put links down there. We're not making this shit up. That's the entire bill. There's no exit strategy, no replacement plan. There's no protocols in place for transition.
He's the Arizona senator?
Yep.
Yo.
Would you like to know who he's funded by?
Oh, is it BlackRock?
It is not. I fucking thought, but it is not BlackRock. He's not big enough to be on BlackRock's radar yet. So
That's fair. He can aim higher.
Either that, or I haven't dug deep enough into the House Freedom Fund.
House Freedom Fund.
The only thing you really need to know about them is they donated $57,000 to his campaign. He's a Arizona senator, by the way. He's not like $57,000 to his campaign. And they also donate to a slew of other Republicans, most notably Lauren Boebert and Jim Jordan.
Oh, Boebert. Oh.
This brings me to the news. You ever notice how Jim Jordan kind of looks like Razar from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Ooze? Let me share my screen. Let me find a picture of Jim Jordan and let me share my screen out. Okay. Entire screen. Oh.
Infinity. Oh.
All right. So this is Jim Jordan. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay. It's the one with the Market Watch image. That's the one I associate him with because I just always remember that weird little floof of hair that he's got going. Like, yeah.
Market Watch image. Which one is that? Which one am I looking at?
Bottom
Oh, there
row.
it is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because he's trying to position himself as like almost a bulldog in a lot of his stuff. He's always shoulders out, leaning in, kind of intense.
I mean, he was a wrestler, and yeah, he was a wrestler. He looks like pretty decent base right there, decent shoulders. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, look at the Fox News one with that. That pointing is aggressive. So, that's what'd you say about my mama?
What do you say about my mama? Or maybe it was a little more like, oh no.
Hey, he does look like
fucking it. Jim Jordan, dude.
He does look like it.
Jim Jordan is fuck. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again.
Oh god.
Okay. Especially this guy right here, right? Especially this one right here.
Yep. Yeah. He's got the same jaw structure.
I know I shouldn't laugh all that hard because he can't help what he looks like. And it's not in me to just go, hey, fuck you for looking weird. But Jesus, come on, man. It's uncanny.
I'm just imagining this guy like doing a this is my bill. two sentences.
It's 2 sentences. God. That was Andy Biggs, not Jordan.
But Jim still, Jordan, he could have done it.
The point there. The point is there.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh man, I just
And it feels like
so,
that
who's that?
That kind of logic of like, I just want to get rid of it and I want it completely gone. Come on, like all sides can agree that politicians are corrupt. We know they take money from outsiders. They get lobbied all the time. Lobby's just a nice word.
That's what happened with Andy Biggs.
Yeah, it's just a nice word for paying to get a political result, aka corruption. Quid pro quo.
He did offer some kind of replacement idea. He said it'll be up to and this just goes in line with all these other fucking talking heads like Lauren Boebert and Jim Jordan. Mm-hmm. They all say the same shit because it's what they're paid to say. The politicians you vote in do not work for you the moment they're in office. They work for them.
It's an oligarchy.
So holy fuck, where's I going with that?
Same thing all the talking heads say.
Because Andy Biggs, is what he was proposing. Andy Biggs is proposing that it's up to the states to protect the occupational safety and health. And private companies. Everything these fucking monsters say and do is just moving us toward privatization of everything. And that's not a good thing.
No.
That's not a good thing. It's how we wind up in fucking Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Not literally, probably.
Yeah, maybe spiritually. Because, you could be a spiritual successor. Rome had many spiritual successors that were hardly related to it, but did some awful things too.
History never repeats itself, but it does rhyme.
Yeah. This one rhymes with turd.
Heard?
Ferd?
Amber Heard.
Gee, that was a trial. Holy shit, that united like the country.
That was a trap. I mean, it's a trap I'd have fallen for too. I don't blame Johnny Depp whatsoever.
Oh, but hold on. I can even make that related to this. That is a great example of someone controlling a narrative and trying to say, no, I'm telling you this person is evil. And then the reality coming out and being like, no, it's a much more nuanced situation than that. Same thing. Yep. Like, this is... it's the abuser pattern that we see. Like, we already have talked about how employers abuse their powers. We wouldn't need OSHA if we all held ourselves accountable for these things and had discipline and didn't treat other humans poorly. We need it to hold people accountable because we've done this before, and little kids were losing body parts frequently.
In fact, workplace fatalities decreased 78.8% since the institution of OSHA.
Damn.
It's almost like they're doing their fucking, it's almost like they're one of the only federal agencies that's actually doing something out there. And they're also only 1,700 strong.
I was gonna say,
again,
crank the fucking budget. Give them 50,000 people. That we could have the safest country in the world for workers.
But OSHA is also a threat because they are a direct threat to the bottom line of billionaires. If an OSHA agent were to walk into a Tesla factory, honestly, he might not find much. I kind of do expect Musk to keep like a pretty tight ship of his shit,
yeah.
but
his secret factories,
probably not. Right? Yeah, the ones where he's making the I don't even know. I didn't have anything clever lined up. I apologize. That was a weak lead
just
up.
Little kids inside of the robotic arms. That's all.
But if they were to walk in, if they were to walk in to a Tesla shop and they found something, they found anything, that would be damaging to his reputation, right? Because he's supposed to be this like fucking megalomaniac, like big brain guy. Yeah. And you had a pallet, you had an entire rack of pallets standing up on end, but that's 70 pallets. 70 by 750. I don't know. You'll afford it, but like you're not going to be happy about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know small.
And it's absolutely crushing the small businesses potentially. So like there is an option for people out there to see OSHA as the bad guy. Generally, if you're a business owner, because they cost you money, but especially if you're bad at it.
Well, and especially too if you're not educated. Like we as a nation have failed in educating our own people about how our nation works. Because again, you're teaching me about OSHA, and I'm sitting here like, oh my god, they're actually kind of like, they're like the good guys. They're the good guys. They need funding. They need to be doing this. We could have a much safer 78%, you said? Holy shit. That's insane.
In the interest of full disclosure, I actually did want to be an OSHA inspector at one point in my mid-20s. And then I looked into it, and it just wasn't appealing to me at that point because I wasn't interested in going to school, and I needed a bachelor's in occupational health and safety or something related. And like there's other things that would have helped too. Yeah. But that was the big one. I was just like, I'm 26. I don't really want to go back to school. Like, I'll just figure something out. Fucking joke's on me, though. I would have been probably fired, actually. No, I'd have been fired by now.
Oh, yeah. I wanted government jobs, too.
Budget cuts.
Same. I was like, man, government jobs are where it's at. Like, you get it. You do a good job. You just stay there. You're set for life. Now I'm like, oh, my God. No.
Yeah. Well, I just gave a shit about keeping people safe and sending them home to their wives in one piece. Especially because I've seen people lose fingers on the floor. I've seen people just completely willfully bypass, and repeatedly bypass machine guarding and lockout, tag out, and all this shit.
Yep.
I heard, I didn't see it. I had left the place before this had happened, but there was a guy, Frankie. He was yay tall, just cranky old man. He didn't appear to be very smart when you spoke with him, but he was always mad about something. And I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with old men as they kind of age into stupidity. If they weren't especially bright to begin with, they just kind of get mad at the world because they don't really understand it and they're afraid of it. Yeah. My point is, he worked at this place for decades. And he'd been doing the same thing over and over again. He ran the same machine for years, probably 10 years. Yeah. And he'd done it for so long that he just got complacent. And he was bypassing all the machine guarding. And this machine that he was running, let's see if I can find a video of it and put it here in the edit. But the machine that he was running was a radius bender. So it bent straight steel into a curve. And it did this using a series of rollers that obviously curved into that angle. But
whenever you tell these stories, because rebar, it's like I'm just putting all of the pieces together of like this machine. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to fucking decapitate him, isn't it?
But it was not a decapitation because it wasn't that high up. It was only about waist high. So as he's pushing the bar in, see if I can get myself in frame enough here. As he's pushing the bar in, his glove gets caught right here in between the. And this is what I've heard. I didn't, like I said, wasn't there, but I heard it from the fucking foreman that was there and took care of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Glove got caught, and it just took basically just all the way down, just in there, crushed everything, the bottom half, just that. And like I said, the dude was 67, 68 years old. He should have retired already, but he couldn't afford it because, hey, he made a career out of manufacturing, and he didn't deserve that.
No,
he was a good guy. He was hard to get along with, but I did genuinely think he was a good guy. But he just didn't need to have that happen. Unfortunately, that was on him. So this is where it gets a little tricky, right? Because you can try to say, oh, well, the company should have enforced the lockout tagout. Well, of course. Or they should have enforced the machine guarding. Well, of course.
Yeah. But if he overrode it.
And he was working in the back corner of the shop. I know exactly how the shop was laid out. I worked it for years, obviously. He was working in the back corner of the shop he was just working autonomously. He was trying to get the job done because it was late on a Friday.
Yeah. So I got one for you. I forgot about this one, but this was an OSHA violation. So this is where it gets really weird in niche knowledge, but hospitality. There are certain rags that are recommended for cleaning wine glasses because the stems are fragile. So if you use like a standard, no, you can break them, and it doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But if you were using a microfiber rag of a certain density, it is harder to clean it. So you put more pressure on that stem. We had she wasn't a sommelier. She was just like a wine bar attendant. She had been with the hotel for years, cleaning, talking to somebody. The stem snapped, but because of the tension that was maintained in order to get the clean shine that we're looking for, she severed her tendon in her arm, and your tendons are hyperloaded like a bowstring. It shot from her wrist all the way up through into her shoulder. It destroyed her shoulder socket.
Holy shit.
Just gone. And from the people who were there, they were traumatized as all get out because she's talking, screaming in pain, and her arm is like jello. She is getting paid for life because she had asked the manager multiple times, like, hey, I've broken several glasses doing this. Can you get me a lighter microfiber rag? Like, I want to clean with something different. And the manager kept basically being like, it's not that important. Slam dunk win, OSHA violation, because an expert was advising on something and they were not listened to. So they were fined for unsafe practices. And then we had to literally, somebody would come in and we'd be like, these are the rags we use. Please double check them. Okay, where do you order them from? Here. Good. Continue using those. These are the ones you have everywhere. Right. Good. And then also the lawsuit she won was insane. Yeah.
All the way up to the shoulder. Holy shit, dude. That's a wartime injury, dude. And you're just working in the kitchen of a hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got to clean up after that. You got to go up and clean up. Who knows how much blood?
Yeah. Oh God, I can't even imagine. It can do a lot of destruction, and this poor gal, she'll never be the same. And this is another example of the reason that manager didn't want to do it is because the other rags were an additional cost on her spreadsheet, and she didn't want to spend more money.
That's all it is, man. That's all it fucking ever is with these people. Yeah, it's all it ever is. That's why. That's why that young boy Thomas Cooper died in hyperbaric chamber in Michigan.
Yeah, yeah.
She was cutting corners. That bitch was cutting corners,
and not even intelligently. Stupidly. What the hell?
God damn, man.
That's a good one. That's a good rant.
Dude, I'm still trying to get over that.
The mental image of that shit. Yeah. No, that was bad. The manager of the wine bar was gone after that because I don't think they can ever show themselves.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Criminal charges were probably discussed in that because that's huge.
Oh God, yeah, it was bad. I don't the hospitality industry, depending on where you're at, usually has little bubbles that are very incestuous. managers just jump around from property to property and switch roles and all that because they get paid more that way. And there's no way that person could work anywhere in the area of California that we were in after that.
Good.
Everyone would know. Like,
good.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, you kind of almost need to go into witness protection. And you know what? Fucking good. Again, if that happened because you were negligent, you're bad at your job, you're incompetent.
Yeah.
Fucking figure it out, man. You're not beyond reproach. Like, you're not beyond repair. Let's smarten you up a bit. Let's help you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't be hurting people in the process. If someone is trying to tell you something for months, for days, even for like a couple of minutes, maybe listen to them. Maybe they know what they're talking about. Maybe like you're not the end all be all.
Yeah. And it's okay to be a manager and have specialists who know more about other topics than you do. That's the best situation possible.
Here's the thing about this, is a little aside, but we're really near the end, so I'm just going to let it ride. Managers that insist on taking on all of the duties make their lives so much harder and end up being worse for it. Managers who understand their own weaknesses, we're talking about leaders at this point.
Yeah.
Leaders who understand their own weaknesses hire people and put people in positions that are stronger in those positions, that are stronger at his weaknesses, at her weaknesses.
Absolutely. You're building a team. It's not just you. The thing I'm really processing in this is that when you're the employee, you feel almost helpless, because like, what are you going to do? Spend your own money to do this? 9 times out of 10, that employer does not pay you enough in the first place to go do this.
No.
But now you know what to do, because I know what to do after this. Is like, if I run into that situation, if I see a fucking gas station worker hauling shit that is way too heavy on a unsafe freaking wheelbarrow or something, I now know I can ping OSHA and be like, hey, I saw this at this time in this day at this location. Just run by and scare the love of God back into them. Something like that. OSHA is a tool that is beneficial to the employees. And that needs to get out more. And OSHA needs more support and probably more budget, and not just a 2-sentence, you don't exist anymore bullshit thing.
Fucking for real. One thing I would encourage everyone to do within your own profession is to brush up on OSHA regulations. Mm-hmm. And every time you go near or to a place within your industry, check it out. So, for instance, I've made a career out of production, right? I've made a career out of manufacturing. And every time I go past a factory, I look in their parking lot. I see what the parking spaces look like. I see, hey, are there cars backed in, or are they all pulled in forward? Yeah. Because if the cars are backed in, this is a little kind of an aside, I think, potentially, maybe. But in my experience, if you drive past a factory and the majority of the cars are backed into the spots, they probably have a pretty tight safety protocol. And they're probably pretty tied up on their OSHA protocols. And I say that because you back into a spot for a quick getaway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's a fire or there's a quick evacuation, everyone has to leave in a hurry and everyone's trying to back out, it's just bumper cars. But if everyone's already facing out, so it's a safety thing, right? It's not an OSHA thing, that specifically. Yeah. But if you see that in a parking lot of a factory, that is a decent indication they probably have a pretty tight ship on the OSHA regulations, probably, pretty tight grip on the OSHA regulations.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, one that's usually a telltale sign. So, like, the other thing, too, is if you're in an industry where you think that OSHA doesn't apply, think again. I've been in digital marketing firms that have nothing to do with production or but we had cleaning equipment for mopping the place. Mm-hmm. And there were certain chemicals that, if mixed, would create a gas that would knock people out. And if you don't know what that is, you don't have the material safety data sheet, then you're SOL. That is supposed to be your Bible. Something goes wrong, you open it up. Oh my God, that's the weird green liquid. It mixed with this other blue liquid, and it catches people on fire. Now I've learned that. Oh, I have to put it out by, dousing them in salt. Whatever the fucking random thing it is. Like, OSHA's there to help. Don't think that your industry is immune to it. Like, do the research first, because as we just fucking established, what we've been told may not be accurate. I
would argue it is also our job to help OSHA. Mm-hmm. They're not an evil entity, right? They're not someone that's out there. First of all, they don't fine employees. I don't think we've clarified this yet. They do not fine you. They fine your boss. They fine your company. They fine your employer. They do not fine you as the employee. In fact, you're so protected against that. You're so protected against that if you are performing an illegal act under the duress of your boss, that's your boss's problem. That's not your problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it is your problem, obviously, but it's not your legal problem.
Yeah. Well, and then on top of that, too, with, oh God, brain, where was it going? Walking back a little bit.
We're just talking about duress, talking about...
Oh, remember at the beginning of this, too, we went over the fact that retribution is illegal in most cases. So if OSHA fines your employer and that employer turns around and says, all right, Charles, I'm going to fine you for that shit, you have a case. They're not supposed to be able to do that. You can fight back on it and be like, that is retribution. You are hitting me for being a whistleblower.
And that's illegal. And once again, we covered that in the wrongful. We're not trying to plug this video or anything, just as relevant, I guess. But yeah, we covered that in the wrongful termination video. I think that's a great little punctuation there.
Yeah.
I think we breezed over some stuff. If there's any bit of this that you guys want us to go deeper into, we absolutely will. I have so many more notes than we could cover in an hour. Again, safety is actually something I'm rather passionate about on the job site for fucking obvious reasons, I hope, at this point. Workplace fatalities decreased by 78.8% since 1970, thanks to OSHA. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's pretty decent metrics, man. That's pretty good improvement.
I'm saying, man.
Most of the way.
So on that note, and no pun intended, be safe out there, people.
Yeah. Don't die. Have fun. Good game.
Good game. If you enjoyed that video, you think we've earned it, drop us a like and consider subscribing. Check out our merch store. It's on our website at theunemployablelife.com. We have more merch coming we're super excited about. We'll see you in the next one.